actually bring bad intentions, it's a different ball game. And I just don't know that he's going to be able to execute that. I also say up to this point in all the fights of Jaron Ennis that I've seen, he hasn't done really well on the inside. He's been able to keep people at the end of his shots, keep them at range. And when he's gotten tagged, they haven't been people that can put him down. Errol Spence has the power to put you down, but most people know how to stay out the way and don't get their ass kicked. And that's why he's not been KOing guys as well.
Yeah, man, I totally agree with that. I just think, and I really like Boots' confidence. He should be confident. I like the hungry young lion coming after the old heads and the old lions. I like that. But we were asked a question, and I think one of our videos, whether it might have been actually last week, do we feel like Bruce Ennis is going to be different once he gets to the mountaintop? The answer is no. Everybody changes. It's just like what Marvin Hagler says. It's different when you getting up out of them silk sheets, and that's just not for training. That's also your mindset and how you view the entire sport. I mean, you're comfortable now. You don't really want to take those types of risks. So there's a young lion coming up looking for an opportunity to knock you off the throne. You're going to avoid him too. So I don't believe that he's going to be any different from anybody else. What do you think about that interaction today with him and Rashidi Ellis? I really like that. Rashidi was hot, bruh. He was hot. I already did a video on it, and I know people have gotten the opportunity to see that. So what were your thoughts on that?
Oh, I've been waiting to talk about that, man. Let me say, I do believe that Rashidi definitely want the smoke, and I want to give a little background for those who may not be aware. At one point in time, Rashidi Ellis was actually ranked higher than Jaron Ennis. He's a
Facts.
little bit older as well, and he went inactive when he got with Golden Boy and kind of sat on the shelf and didn't fight the best competition outside of Alexis Rocha, and that was kind of like a punishment because he wasn't supposed to beat Rocha. That's just some gossip, but that's kind of what happens in politics, right? So anyway, he went inactive, and Boots stayed active, got with Showtime, and actually got marquee fights and got on marquee cards that pushed him past Rashidi Ellis. So now you've got Rashidi in the pursuit seat. He's chasing Boots now. And then, they had the back and forth with Boots is saying, we sent you, we tried to sign with you, but you didn't want to do it, this and that. To me, I mean, I don't know. The truth lies somewhere in the middle. If the money wasn't right, they all say the same thing. And if the money's right, we're gonna do it, right? But obviously the money wasn't right. So I don't expect him to get into a dangerous fight early enough in his career to where it can be pivotal, right? So to me, that's it was nice to see it. My problem is this. I don't want this to be the Boots Speedy equivalent to Spence and Crawford in the tunnel. And then 5 years from now they fight. These dudes need to fight by the end of next year. I don't want to hear nothing about it. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah, with Rashidi, I didn't like the money wasn't there. And the only reason I don't like that is because there's no way that he's getting less money for the fight that he's taking on this weekend versus what he would have gotten for Boots. So fighting Boots, it sounded like, and maybe I'm wrong to you, maybe you heard something different from what I heard because it was very muffled, but it feels like he had the opportunity to really fight Boots this weekend for the IBF interim title. And if that's the case, you have the opportunity to beat an up and coming fighter yourself, win a title, and basically become the man at welterweight. Not the man in terms of like superseding Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford, but the next man in line. And so if those dollars were comparable to what you're making in this fight, then you probably need to go ahead and make that risk. Take that risk. Too many fighters today are actually trying to sit back, hold off, wait till a fight builds and builds and builds. And some of them don't have the personality to actually make a fight build and build and build. So you should fight now. If you're not the type of person that really put asses in seats and people are really interested and engaged in who you are, you need to go ahead and make the biggest and best fights now, because how you're going to build a fight later on in the future is by fighting, not by your personality. So I didn't like that from Rashidi, but it does feel like he wants to smoke based off of just his reaction. Because, man, I thought they were about to fight right then.
But you know what? Think about it like this. This could be, listen, man, I don't put anything past boxers, and we talking about the theater of boxing at this point. You have two people on the same network, and the network said, listen, our network is going to look at some restructuring. If you want to be able to come here and have a boxing home, we need to make sure these fights make money. If you guys are next in line in the welterweight division, we need y'all to start talking and start building up some competition, because every great boxer needs a dance partner to build a marquee fight. Floyd and Pac.
Absolutely.
You had
Absolutely.
Tyson and Holyfield. These things exist because it makes common interest of the general public, and that's something that has to be in place. And I think that that's something that we saw begin to happen with this interaction. So they're going to talk trash at the press conference, right? They might have a little back and forth on the sideline at the weigh-in, but then after the fight in their press conferences, when they both win, guess what they're going to talk about? They're going to talk about each other, not the fight that they just had. So that's building the momentum. The problem is, after what we just went through with Spence and Crawford, we need them to marinate this thing real quick on high and get in the ring by the end of the year or early next year if they're not fighting one of the champions. Um, I don't know if anybody could see it. Is there a way we could drop the call-in number in the chat too, so I could repost it?
Yeah, let me just grab it real quick. Drop that call in number in the chat. Give me 1 second. 1 second.
That's right, Jay. Appreciate that. Hit the like, y'all. By the way, while he goes ahead and get that queued up, don't forget to subscribe to the Mike Check podcast right here on YouTube. Please tap in. Go ahead and give us a subscribe. I cover all kinds of sports stuff, but we definitely go heavy on that boxing. How will Ellis win
Absolutely.
with decision or knockout? Ooh, that's a good question. Man, I think he about to tear that boy head off. That's what I think.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
How will Ellis win by decision or knockout? What do you think?
Uh, I think it's probably going to be by KO, late KO,
Late? I got it. I got it getting over
mid to
early,
late. Yeah,
bro.
mid.
I think these dudes are gonna knock their opponents out so quick. With that wait time until Tank fights, they could get in the ring and fight each other that night.
Facts. Hey, we got 36 people in the building. We got 15 likes. If you get the opportunity, please hit that like button. If you don't like the content, hit the dislike button. It's all good as long as you interact. And then while you're at it, please subscribe to the Angry Man Podcast or AM Sports Media. We welcome everybody. We love to talk boxing. We love to talk all sports, but specifically boxing. And we got a lot of content out there for you guys. And also, like T War said, go over there and subscribe to the Mike Check Podcast. They're basically a sister channel to AM Sports Media. We rock with each other.
For sure, it's all
All
family.
right.
Let's see.
So what else do we got here, man? What
Hey,
else? What
so
else do we want to talk about?
did you check out any of the Porter? Did you watch the mainstream on PBC or Showtime, or did you watch the Porterway stream of the press conference today? Which one did you pick
I,
up?
so I watched bits and pieces of all of it. And I can't say that I've watched all of it, man, because it's very
Okay.
challenging for me to kind of record in between meetings and drop content and then listen to all that stuff. But I did listen to pieces and parts of both the Porterway podcast and PBC's production of it. I believe it was PBC or Fight Hype, one of them. But
Mhm.
what are your thoughts?
So I watched I like the Porterway stream because I like Ant. He from Louisiana, like me, so I like his delivery and stuff. And they get a little bit more casual interviews from the fighters when they pull them off to the side. So they talked to Anthony Peterson. They talked to Boo Boo yesterday. Um,
Hmm.
they talked to Bozy, but I was wondering if you got an opportunity to see the interaction between this happened yesterday, Jaron Ennis and Sean Porter. So you remember the backstory, right? How Porter had said some things and then he kind of switched up and Boots said some
Yeah.
things, but it was all handled through the media. They got to have a sit down. Um, so I wanted to get your input, but I'll share it with the people. So for those who don't know, several months ago, almost a year ago, Sean Porter, when his podcast was really just starting to take off, he was saying how Jaron Ennis was next. He was retired, so it was all about Boots. And
Yep.
then he came back and he didn't really switch up. He simply said, even though I do think he's next, he's still unproven. I didn't find anything wrong with that, but the way that he said it just didn't sit right with Boots in this camp. So they said some things about basically Porter being old
Challenge
and
them, basically. They challenged
yeah,
them.
and get in the ring. Like if that's how you
Yeah.
feel, come get this smoke.
Yeah.
Well,
I
they
remember.
finally had a sit down on yesterday at the what do you call it? At the what they do, the media workout. And Dank Fountain says Sean is kitty cat. I got you. But anyway, they finally had a sit down and Boots' energy was, hey, it ain't nothing but air and opportunity between us. We can handle it like men or we can handle it like gangsters. Like he was ready for whatever at the little sit down, but he let Sean Porter know, just his body language let me know, like, You could put the gloves on. He offered to spar him or whatever, and he was like, "Nah, we're going 4 rounds. Let's do this." And I like that from Boots. I like that he's not backing down from any challenges. He's also not being disrespectful to people that he feel like have shown him respect. Errol, Spence, Terrence Crawford. Um, but I kind of I respect the way that he handled the Sean Porter situation, and then Bozy backed it up.
I So I'm familiar with the situation. I didn't see a whole lot of the interaction. I did see pieces and parts of that interview, but and I did see the portion where Sean Porter was talking about, man, it feels like, and I'm paraphrasing, but basically, like, it seems like there's still a little bit of heat there between those two individuals, and
It is.
um, I didn't see anything wrong with what Sean Porter said. I think we're all saying the same thing about Boots. We hope he is the future, but at the end of the day, it's people keep saying he's special, he's special, he's special. There are a lot of fighters that look spectacular against lower level competition, right? And I do believe that Boots has the goods, but at the same time, we got to see him in there with high level competition. I want to see what happens when he get hit. The guys he's been in the ring with, man, they're not going to really challenge Boots. And you don't really necessarily see a lot of the flaws and weaknesses in a fighter until they're in there with a better fighter, a fighter that really has technical skills and can take advantages of some of the flaws in a fighter that will make it visible for us. So Sean Porter said what Sean Porter said. I think what he said made a whole lot of sense. I didn't think he said anything wrong. And we got to give these young men the opportunity to prove who they are instead of just anointing them the next king.
Yeah. He got hit by Lipinets. It was a good shot. Yeah, but Lipinets come up from like 135, something like that? Like we
Yeah,
not talking
something
about
like that. He came up
147.
from 140, I thought. Didn't he fight? Who was
Yeah,
that Mikey Garcia starts? Wasn't that Lipinets?
yeah, Mikey beat him, but that's what I'm saying. I think he started at 135 though. We're not talking about a real big dude. He's muscular, but he's not a big dude. And he
Right.
never was known as a power puncher. But when I think about Boots, well, up until recently, as I've dug more into his backstory and started to understand, Boots was raised in the gym, so he is bringing a little something different. But I thought of, dang, it was just on the tip of my tongue, Erickson Lubin. Remember the hype train on Erickson Lubin, and then Mel destroyed him. That's
Yeah.
kind of what.
Erickson, hold up. Erickson Lubin's from Orlando, guys. We gotta take it easy.
Hey, I like Lubin. I like the energy he bringing. I love the fight of the year that he had with what's your boy Sebastian Fundora. But I rate Boots higher than that at this point, and I just think that he's one of those guys that, because he does live in the gym. That Fight Time special on Show Sports was really good. It gave you a back entry look at what he does and how he's like, yo, I get off the mitts, I get out my session, and I don't go home. I go and train these other guys the next coming up. Now, that's a double-edged sword because you can burn out on the sport that you've been doing. When you get to the highest level, you can burn out when you're training that much. He's going to have to pick either focus on me or be a coach. You're not going to be able to do both for long. But I do appreciate the dedication, and he's a young dude. So at 24, 25 years old, I could respect it. But I do need to see it against the elite. And some of the other elites, they're unproven as well. Ortiz is unproven. Stanionis beat Butayev, who I think is actually a really tough customer. So I can see that. But I need to see them in there with like a Danny Garcia, a Keith Thurman, some of the old guards, some of the guys who might consider gatekeepers. I need to see them fight those guys because that's going to be a better barometer. Somebody who's got some veteran savvy, a skill set that's beyond what they're seeing in the gym and training, and something that's greater than their previous opponents. Not these dudes that came up from 135 to 147.
No, I totally agree with that. Totally agree. So what else do you have on your mind, T? Anything else that like I said, I've been dropping a lot of videos over the last few days, and I know you've seen probably most of them.
Oh,
Any
yeah.
thoughts on any other topic that I've dropped so far?
I put so much in the comments. I like that you clarified the mandatory situation for Errol Spence
Oh
and
yeah,
why
I was
they
getting
took
petty.
that
I was
path.
getting petty though.
But it was needed, bro. It's needed. I mean, you got to be petty because I don't do it. So in the whole media family that we got that we build in here, you got to be the petty one. Jason is the chill one. I'm the even keel one, and you King Petty. So you bring your role. And
So,
Q is buttoned up. But anyway, go ahead, bro.
no, I was about to say, hey, listen, we got 55 people in the building. We got 28 likes. Please, if you have the opportunity, hit the like button or the dislike button. And if you had the opportunity, please subscribe to AM Sports Media, subscribe to the channel, and also subscribe to the Mike Check podcast. And now I'm going to start challenging people because we got this phone number up here. You guys had me working for hours trying to figure out how to get a phone call, to get a line so you guys could call in and talk. And now I finally got it and nobody's called in. I got it. Jay, somebody got to call in. Somebody call. Jay, what's up, Jay? I know you. Brian S., what's going on? Somebody got to call in, man. I got to hear somebody's voice.
Jonesy, baby, what's happening? Deuce Daily, what up? Come on
Deuce
through, man.
Daily.
On the screen. What
Deuce
it do?
Daily. Come on through. I'm waiting for you.
Hey, so while we wait for somebody to tap in, I just saw Ugas' name come up when I was talking about proven fighters, former champions. Do you think it's a good idea for Ugas to get in with one of these young lions, or do you think he needs maybe another vet that's probably going to do less damage to him on his return to the ring? What do you project for him over the next fight or two? What do you think?
I think Ugas needs to come back to the ring against a vet, somebody that's going to warm him up. He had a really serious, challenging fight versus Errol Spence, and he suffered some real damage in that fight. So, in my opinion, he should come back to the ring with somebody that's going to be a safer bet, someone that maybe is a vet, and then maybe he'll take on one of those young lions. I mean, at this stage of the game, Ugas is probably going to end up getting fed to one of those young lions if he doesn't retire. So it's going to be one or the other. They'll probably give him some grace and let him get a safe fight back. But at some point, he's getting fed. He's going to be food. So that's my thought on it.
Yeah, I would say, you know who would be a good fight for Ugas just because the offense ain't going to be coming?
Who's that?
Jose Benavidez. Now, that might mean a move up, but I think Jose could still make 47 if it's a good fight with Ugas on like an undercard of a pay-per-view, because those are two names now. So they'll get a good piece of bread from it. But I think that would be a really good fight because Jose ain't going to throw that many punches. So Ugas won't take as much damage, but it's still a pro-level fighter that's going to allow him to, like, they both are going to give each other something that's not going to put him in too much danger, but it's definitely a good fight on the card. You know what I'm saying? Like
Deuce Daly. Deuce Daly just gave us Josecito Lopez. That's not a bad one.
Okay.
Mario Barrios. He's looking for somebody.
Man, hell no. That ain't a good fight for neither one of them. That does nothing for Barrios.
I agree, because he's going to lose.
Man, I think Barrios will beat Ugas, bro.
No.
Barrios bring offense, bro.
No, man. Ugas, man, no.
If you had to pick one tool that Ugas could beat him with, what would be the tool you would pick to be his key to victory against Barrios?
Yeah, that's not a fair question. Because Ugas because Ugas, there's nothing specific that Ugas does extremely well. He's just a solid fighter.
I think he's a tough fighter, which he showed against Spence. I think against Manny, he proved that he was the younger man, and Manny just didn't have it.
Jonesy baby agrees with me. Ugas will smoke Barrios. I agree.
Man, Barrios got offense. Y'all tripping. I haven't seen Barrios.
Okay, how much offense he got? Man, I would see. My thought is Ugas will probably try to crowd him, step into his offense, and basically punish him because he's so much bigger. That's how I see it. I just don't think. I don't think
you get in that high guard. It's a wrap. Barrios actually has an assortment of punches, and that's the one thing. If you have an assortment of punches, you could beat Ugas. How do you think he got in such a dogfight with Sean Porter? Obviously, I'm just filling space with this particular topic, but I would pick Barrios in that fight. And I know it's an unpopular opinion, but I'll stand on it. I ain't gonna die on that hill, but I'll stand on
it. All right, man. We haven't had anybody call in yet. So, man, what is the next topic? So I did a video, T, and it was a controversial video as far as I'm concerned. And what I did was I went all the way back and I looked at all the WBO rankings. And I looked at all the IBF rankings, and I just kind of compared everything to kind of see how everything tracked with Boots Ennis and where he was in December of 2021 and where Virgil Ortiz was in 2021 and Thurman and all those guys. And I realized, I said, man, there hasn't been much movement at all from the top two in the WBO. And Boots at the end of December of 2021, he was number 3 in the IBF, but they had no one ranked in the top 2 because both of the top 2 in the previous 2 months lost. So they gave him an opportunity in January of 2022, or at least I believe that's when they announced the opportunity for him to fight Castillo Clayton, and then get in line for an interim title. So it was very clear to me that Boots had the opportunity to go down the path of the IBF because they were the ones that were given the opportunities. And now you fast forward it 14 months later, the top two in the WBO are still the same: Virgil Ortiz and Boots Ennis. And it's been the same. The top three have been the same since June of 2022. So clearly, there's been no movement in the WBO.
Right.
And it's clear to me that Boots Ennis did not swerve Terrence Crawford. He simply took the route that was easiest for him to get to a title. I mean, it's just so easy and clear and simple to me, yet people seem to want to just dismiss that. So that's one part of it. So I'm going to pause there and give you the opportunity to speak to that. But then the other part of it was when I was looking at it, and then we were looking at the rules. And I did a video the other few days ago, and it was based off of a Twitter exchange you and I had when we were looking at the rules.
Right.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And I was saying that Terrence Crawford should be defending his title. And I was thinking along those lines of making that video, but as I was reading the rules, I could see how the WBO could get out of actually enforcing their own rules. So I didn't make the video, but shout out to manager Marty. He decided to make the video. So I want to talk about both of those different topics because I know you haven't had the opportunity to talk about it. So what are your thoughts on just, Boots Ennis and the fact that he chose the IBF route versus the WBO route? And do you think the logic that I used was clear and made sense?
So first thing, kudos on the logic. You laid out a very clear path to why somebody would make the obvious choice of going IBF route. If you just look at the historic rankings, you could even go back to the WBO rankings, probably since Crawford became a champion. The top two or three just really hadn't moved too much without one of those guys either beating each other or both losing somehow. And then they slowly elevate the other dudes, and you have to fight all these other fights on that path in order to get into the one or two. The IBF, on the other hand, had significant movement because those people were fighting each other, getting in line for Spence's title. So, in my opinion, it was the fastest path to get an enforced rule because the IBF does not have an 18-month or at our own discretion rule for once they make you a mandatory. It's 12 months no matter what. There's no super champion in the IBF. So you can't circumvent the timetable. You have to defend that belt. Now, in Spence's case, because of those two injuries between the car accident and then you turn around and have the retina issue, he's been granted more time. But because the 1 and 2 were not moving up into an interim spot, once they moved out of them spots, they had to put somebody else, and then they do like a fight off, kind of like an eliminator tournament to where Castillo Clayton and Boots had to fight and things like that. So, in my opinion, he picked the right path because there's actual movement. So you laid out a very clear path to that. The second part you were saying, run that by me one more time. The second part was what manager Marty was talking about.
Yeah.
So
here, the 18-month rule. So there's no specific rule within the WBO that states that a super champion gets 18 months. And you and I went back and forth on this, and I understand that. But when you think about the leniency that we've seen over the last 4 years for Terrence Crawford, and some of the things that the WBO has done in the past, I think there's a precedence for allowing up to 18 months. And so that's more so what we were speaking to. But what I was saying was this: if you look at the rules of the WBO, if you read down the line, all right, and I'm going to paraphrase this. So it basically gives a super champion the opportunity to do something that's for the good of the sport or for their legacy, which would be unification of a title. Or if it's something that they're doing that the fans are calling for. So clearly, at the point, so let me back up a little bit. So the last mandatory defense for Terrence Crawford was against Sean Porter. That was November of 2021. So that means that he should have been back in the ring somewhere around June or July of 2022. But we all know that he and Errol Spence were negotiating at that time. Mm-hmm. And so that is for the good of the sport. Therefore, I do believe that would have been in the parameters of the rules for the WBO. At the moment in which he broke off from actually making that fight, he should have gotten into the ring with the next best available opponent. We know that Ortiz didn't want the smoke because he had already stated it. So the next best available opponent would have been Jaron Boots Ennis. So why is it that they didn't allow for that fight to go through, or at least force that fight? Now I know they left a loophole in there, just basically saying, "Oh, something that's good or generated for the fans." But we know the fans didn't really care for that damn fight. And manager Marty tried to use pay-per-view buys to show demand for the fight, but in reality, you have to have a metric that is pre-fight, right? Something that you can measure before the fight ever occurs. So there's no real way in order to actually measure a fight in terms of demand and what the fans actually want. So they give themselves a way out. And that's the reason why I feel like they must be clearly working with Terrence Crawford, because at the end of the day, yeah, maybe it's not objective, it's subjective, but it's clear fans aren't demanding Terrence Crawford versus David Avanesian. That shit is clear. So in my mind, the WBO assisted Terrence Crawford in evading and avoiding some of the tougher competition that they had ranked in the WBO at that time. That was my thought. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass it to you right now. You tell me what you think.
No, I agree with you there. I want this. I want to address something in the comments before I reply to what you're saying too. So the food says, please clarify no movement. So Boots couldn't petition mandatory status. I'm gonna jump on it first, and I think you'll have something to interject as well. So by no movement, in the previous video that Greg released, he shows where from one date to about a year later, the WBO 1, 2, and 3 did not change. But if you look at that same time period in the IBF, there was significant movement, including the number 1 and 2 contenders losing. Now, in terms of mandatory, when you say you said so he couldn't petition mandatory status. No, if he wasn't due a mandatory at that time, he can't petition for it. So that's the thing. A mandatory has to actually be due in order for the petition to go through. You can petition all you want. If they say it's not time, it just sits on the president's desk until that time avails, and then they may ask you to resubmit their request at a later time.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people get confused with the whole, because they keep talking about, I've heard this multiple times in the comment section about Sean Porter and Sean Porter's ability to petition for the opportunity to fight Terrence Crawford. That is a unique situation. And honestly, I don't even remember Sean Porter actually petitioning. Now, maybe he did, maybe he did. But Sean Porter was in a unique situation because he was ranked number 1, and then inexplicably, the WBO dropped him to number 2. He hadn't lost, he hadn't done anything, and they moved Virgil Ortiz up. So if he did petition, he was already at number 1, and they may have granted that, plus the fact that his mandatory was due. So I don't know why we keep talking about petition. Like, hey, at the end of the day, the petition shouldn't really even matter. Their rules are this: every 9 months, unless you're trying to unify the title or you're doing something that, you know, the fans want to see. They did neither. So, we got somebody calling in.
Smoke?
Man, who we got on the line?
This is your co-worker at Seaman.
Okay, I can't hear. T, can you hear him?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can't hear him. If he's calling from his phone with YouTube on, I can't hear him. Okay, I learned that last night. For whatever reason, I can't hear if they're calling with YouTube on the phone. You got to actually stop YouTube on your phone, or I can't hear for whatever reason.
Okay, let's
come right back, bro. Come right back. Close YouTube and come right back.
Okay.
All right, let's see. James says, in all honesty, Spencer Crawford needs to fight next. The mandatory, not mandatory BS is messy. Fight and then line up. No, I agree with you, James. But the thing is, if the sanctioning bodies go ahead and strip guys, then you don't have these issues with the mandatory. Fight who we call as your mandatory, or we taking our belt. But here's the thing. You have to understand, the sanctioning bodies only make money when champions go to the ring with their belts. So, and you want your belt in the hands of somebody that generates money. Think about this: a guy who makes $300,000 to defend your belt, and you get 3%. Let's just call it 10%, because I want to work around numbers. You're going to get $30,000. But what if a guy who gets $3 million for a fight takes your belt to the ring? Now you're getting $300,000. So having the belt in the hands of a marquee fighter is important to them. So they're going to allow them grace if somebody who's marketable has a belt. Put the belt in the hands of somebody like Cody Crowley. Watch how fast that mandatory come up, because he ain't making no money coming to the ring.
Bud will retire before he fights Boots or EJ. WBO needs to strip that. I don't disagree. All right, we got somebody calling in again. Let me see if I'll be able to hear him this time. What's up? You're on the Angry Man podcast. Who do we got here?
This is Richard Hood.
And I still can't hear.
I can hear him. What's up, Richard? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
All right, so he can hear me, but but you're not able to pick him up. I'm not sure what's going on that end, and the callers can hear him too.
Say something again, Richard.
Oh, yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, that's my fuck up. I can hear you now. What's going on with you, man?
Hey, man, just getting ready for this fight Saturday night.
Okay, cool. Man, you in the chat?
Davis, huh?
You in the chat? What's your screen name, man?
Don't have a screen name per se. You call me the Rico, man. That's what I go by.
Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah. These are the OM.
Gotcha. So what's going on with you, man?
So you guys,
hold on. This isn't Richard I used to work with, right?
Tonight?
This isn't Richard I used to work with, is it?
Yeah, this is Richard you used to work with.
Okay. There we go. All right, man. What's going on? Man, we got a whole lot of topics we're talking about. Right now, we're talking about the WBO and some of the rankings that have occurred over the last several, let's call it months, where there hasn't really been any movement in the WBO rankings. And so because of that, we feel like Terrence Crawford has been given a path of least resistance because now it looks like he's going to end up fighting somebody like Rocha. But I heard today that Rocha's already been announced for a fight somewhere in the next couple of months. So maybe it's going to be Crowley, but whoever it is, it's going to be somebody that fans are not necessarily interested in seeing him fight. So what are your thoughts on that? Because I know you deep into the sport.
Well, my feelings are the same. They're not giving the fans what they want to see. They're playing a lot of politics.
Yep.
You know, you got to have this in the contract, that in the contract. I heard something about Crawford talking about something about it something going on in Dubai or something. You know, when he got ready, he was trying to get the fight between him and Errol Spence. I mean, you know, they play a lot of politics. And I'm going to tell you, either one of those guys or both of those guys are going to take a loss before they fight each other.
It's possible. It's possible, man, because it's taking so long.
That's the politics of boxing right there. And so you have, right now, it's juicy. You got the best fighting. You want the best to fight the best. It's really juicy right now. But if one of them or both of them take a loss, it won't have that same effect, the same feeling.
Facts.
I totally agree with that.
And you know, I was just so upset with really both of them. I want them to fight. You know, I thought that they're going to fight in November, but you know, it never. You know, that didn't happen, and you know, so. But you know, because I'm a serious boxing fan. You know. And I want to see, you know, the best fight, the best. Nobody want to give up their O. You know, nobody want to lose. You got too many undefeated fighters. Somebody got to take an L.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. So what do you think about this? I'm sorry, Greg, you were right.
No. Go ahead.
Oh, so I was going to ask this. So Rashidi Ellis is number 6 in the rankings. And honestly, if Crowley nor Rocha fight Crawford for his mandatory, it'll be Rashidi Ellis. That'll be a hell of a fight. What do the listeners think about that? Rashidi Ellis and Crawford in that particular regard.
Well, Rashidi Ellis very well may beat Crawford.
He has the tools. I agree with you.
That's what I don't want. I want to see an undefeated Crawford fight an undefeated Errol Spence. I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
Hey, Jonesy baby say I got a Primeco phone, but you ain't right for that.
So Reaper, you're basically saying you really don't want anything to get in the way of these dudes fighting for undisputed because it puts more sizzle on the fight. Do you think it changed their animosity in the ring if it's not for undefeated and undisputed? Like if their O's are on the line, do you think it changes the vigor that both fighters will have for it? Is that kind of your perspective?
I think the fighters will still have the same fight, anger, and drive, but it's the fans.
Yeah, I agree.
It's about marketing. You know, on that end, it won't be the same.
I
You
can
want,
rock with
I
that.
totally agree with
I mean, as far as selling the fight, you know, that it won't be the same. But the fighters gonna fight, you know, so they're gonna always have that animosity or whatever against whether they took a loss or not, you know. But for the people, the spectators, you know, as far as like marketing the fight, selling the fight, whatever, you know what I mean? It won't be the same.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
yeah.
So here's a comment. It says, where was it? Where was it? Boots could have petitioned for the WBO mandatory. Oh, that's not really what we're talking about right now. No, he couldn't. The mandatory is not due yet. Crawford is not due a mandatory, so you can't petition that. We were just covering it. If you run the video back about 15 minutes, you'll see that. But yeah, I agree that the fans are going to decide that nobody cares about the fight if it's not for all the marbles. And that was part of the reason that they told us they were marinating the fight, because a Spence Crawford fight has the most sizzle for undisputed and undefeated. Because if it's just unification, the WBO and the IBF, I'm gonna be honest, I'm a boxing fan. I would have just expected Errol Spence to whoop his ass and keep moving. And then who we looking at for undisputed? Manny Pacquiao, whoever. Forgive me if you don't cuss, man. No disrespect. But yeah, I wouldn't have had the same excitement about the fight. But now that Crawford has actually grown into the weight class and he's accomplished some things like a knockout streak or stoppage streak, now this fight has more sizzle, but they need to get in the ring this year or the smoke is gone. What do you think?
Yeah,
they need to get in there.
I mean, the knockout was great. You know, he needed that. And okay, the next fight should be Spence and Crawford. Nobody else.
I don't disagree with that at all, Richard. You know, you need to go when a fight has been marinating this long, you're gonna get something similar to what happened with Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather. You don't want that to happen, right? And that's the styles of Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. I don't think will make for a boring fight, but you know, this fight has just been cooking for too long. It's been marinating for too long. At some point, you got to go ahead and put it on the stove and cook up the meat, man. Period. Right now, neither one of these guys have lost. But to the point that you're making, we saw what ended up happening to Manny Pacquiao. He ended up getting stretched, and so, and then I think he lost to Tim Bradley as well during that time period as well. So at the end of the day, we need to see these guys go ahead and get in the ring. Now, do I believe they're going to get in the ring? Hell no. And that leads me to my next topic. Hey, Richard, I appreciate you calling in, man. Somebody called in earlier, so I want to give them the opportunity to call in as well. But I appreciate it, man. I'll hit you up a little bit later.
Okay, all right. Take it easy. Everybody have a happy New Year.
All right, man. All right, bye.
All right.
All right, man. Whoever called in before, the lines are back open. Let me know if you want to call back in. I can hear you. But yeah, what Sean Porter mentioned earlier today, right, in regards to just the fight being able to happen or not being able to happen. And it sounded like he was saying that he had a conversation earlier that morning with Ant, and he didn't really want to go through the details of everything. But at the end of the day, we got somebody calling in. Let me see who we got.
See if it's smoke.
Who we got on the line?
Oh, this is Tony.
Tony, what's going on with you, man?
Oh, I'm good.
Oh, you from Omaha, Nebraska?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. What's up, Tony?
Oh, no, it ain't that type of party.
What's going on with you?
Oh, I'm good. Now, I was saying, man, that Bud don't want that smoke. Bud don't want that smoke with Spence.
Oh, yeah, you think? Tell us why. Tell us why.
Because he never wanted it. All that stuff all that shit he was doing was hype. It was just a hype train. It's just hype. He never look, man. Everybody here knows. Everybody in Omaha knows. North Omaha, where Bud's from, where we all here. We know Bud does not want that smoke. But the thing is, it's a hype thing just to push. He can't afford to lose. He can't afford to lose because Bud is the biggest thing to North Omaha. Like to all his fans, everything here. That's why like him, Bomac and Bernie careers didn't flame out. They all from here. All their careers didn't flame out. But Bud is the only one that went somewhere and it did though. So Bud is like the hope. he the hope for this. It's just like when it's like y'all know Houston Alexander, right? It's just like when Houston Alexander went to the UFC. Everybody was excited. He won his first 2 fights. Everybody was excited. Soon he lost, the whole North Omaha turned on him.
Wow.
And then he started losing. He went on the down with Sproul. And then that fight that got him kicked off of UFC when he fought Kimbo Slice. And he didn't put up. And then White fired him on that night. It's just, and then Bud don't want that. Bud don't want to see people. He's protecting himself, so he ain't gonna fight nobody tough. That's why he keep bragging about all these weak people he be fighting. All Errol leftovers that he fought after Errol beat him. He don't want to give Errol the credit for him, but he want to take the credit for fighting all them bums. But when Errol fought them, they were still fighters. He fought them, they was bums.
Were you home during the time that the fight occurred? And can you just tell us about the energy of the city before his last fight? Like, was it really hyped down there? Was it like congested? Was it a lot of people came into town to witness it, or what was it like out there?
Here? Oh, when the fight happened?
Yeah, when the fight happened.
The normal people, like, a lot, like, they got fans. A lot of people went. I mean, it had a good turnout for all that, but everybody already knew what the outcome of the fight was going to be. But the thing here is, we don't have it ain't a lot of shit here to do.
Right.
So when he comes, like when he fights here, it's a big thing because I'm saying, they put the arena right basically in North Omaha. So it's closer to everybody. Everybody can go now.
Okay.
And so now, when anything happens there, it's good because it gives everybody a place to go and all this. Only thing else that was happening that night was, a lot of people still had a good turnout at Baxter Arena for the Shantae and them concert and all that. But it was still, but everybody already knew the outcome. But like I said, it ain't really that much to do here like that. So, people and plus the tickets, they were so fucking cheap. It wasn't like before when he was fighting here, the tickets was a lot more. Those tickets were cheaper as hell. And they
right.
were buying them tickets two for the price of one. But that's how they was getting people in the door. You was buying two tickets for one person. Like, you ain't 2 for the price of one. And then at the end, at the last 3 or 4 days, they was giving away tickets. Like, I work at Tyson, and we had we was getting free tickets.
Wow.
Tyson.
Wow.
And we was getting tickets because they had all those tickets they put on. Remember when those tickets went on Groupon?
Yeah, I saw that. I absolutely saw that.
They couldn't sell them. So with the person who bought the tickets, they was giving them away. That's why the turnout turned how it was. That's why it went from 10,000 to 14 and all that. A lot of them tickets, and they was giving those tickets away at the end because at the end, all those tickets, it was so many tickets to be purchased because they did it because he did and BLK Prime did. Because Bud,
that's crazy.
Like Bob Evans always say, Bud don't like talk. Because every time he talks, he's the walking contradiction. Let's just put it like that.
He is absolutely a walking contradiction. That ain't no lie at all. I've done many videos on Terrence Crawford and literally found him contradicting himself in the middle of like his statement. I mean, it's crazy that he contradicts himself so much. So that's absolutely true.
Because that's all he does. Just keep. That's why he never did all that talking with Top Rank. And that's why he was never wanted to promote himself and do all that. And just look at the lead up to the fight. He talked about Errol that whole fight, all the lead up to the fight. Then after he knocked this dude out with them busted ass gloves, And then they asked him about Earl Spence. Oh, I'm a free agent. I'm this, that. Man, please. And then so Earl announced that he was hurt and all that. Oh, Earl ready to spin the block. I'm ready to spin the block. Soon Earl came out and said, you know, that's, man, come on, man. I mean, and the last thing I just want to say, man, is I wish people just stop, you know, because this is what they doing still to this day. They using Earl Spence's name, PBC, Al Heyman, to try to push out Bud's next agenda, next bogus fight he gonna have, and never gonna get in that ring with Earl. He just keep using that man's name, PBC's name, Al Heyman, trashing these people. He's the only person in the world can't make a fight with PBC.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We've already covered that as well. That's absolutely right.
He don't want to lose that old. He don't want to lose nobody. That's why I ain't never been in no tough fight, because he ain't gonna never be in no tough fight.
Well, all right. Hey, man, I appreciate you calling in, man. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, man, please do so. Appreciate the love and appreciate you calling in. All right, man?
All right, man.
All right. Catch you later.
All right.
So just for the, we already got somebody else calling in, man. Let me go ahead and answer this one. Yo, it's the Angry Man Podcast. Who we got on the line?
It was Terrence.
Terrence, what's going on, man?
Well, I just want to refute some of the stuff that's being said here.
Okay. Hey, can you just turn down your volume in the background on the show, because I can hear it?
Yeah. I turned it down.
All right, cool. What's going on?
All right, so just to touch base on that last caller, I mean, he says Bud's doesn't want to fight. I mean, we got clips. We got the first clip when he was a twig and he was up in Errol's face. He didn't look like he was scared of Errol there, right? He called him out. He said, "I'm fishing in the sea." Errol didn't respond. The latest, Errol said, "Oh, he's not going to fight me. If he don't fight me, he's not fighting Jamel." And then he said, "Okay, I'm a fish fry you," or something like that. No response by Errol. Okay, so I don't think anybody believes, and I don't think anybody on your podcast believes that Bud is scared of Errol in any way, that he's ducking Errol. That's just the most absurd thing that you guys could say. Now, I just wanted to go over a little timeline here, and you refute
Let's do it.
any of these facts. So,
okay,
and we go back to that fight, leading up to the fight when they were negotiating since April.
Yeah,
this is the first thing that came out. One of Errol Spence's fans on Instagram, I believe, tweeted out something to the effect that said, "Oh, Errol, please respond. Please respond." Because at this point, this man hadn't responded to anything. Everybody wanted to know what was going on with the fight. Errol wasn't saying anything, like usual.
We're talking about after they had. We're talking about after they had already started negotiating, right?
Yes, they had already started. Okay. This is like, it was dry. Nobody was, no one was saying anything.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
One of his fans tweeted and said, "Hey, Errol, you ain't saying nothing, man. Please respond. Please respond." I mean, I don't know the exact tweet, but that was paraphrasing what the guy said. And so after he said that, Errol came out and said, "Oh, man, you just respond. I'm not going to respond to just internet talk or something to that effect. Like, yeah, just the internet. I ain't going to respond to that crap."
Yeah, you heard the report. I'm not going to respond to that. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Now, let's not forget, after that, Bud's sister tweeted at Earl and said, "Yeah, we want to know what's going on too, Earl. Just like the fan. We want to know because we don't know what's going on either." Earl didn't say nothing. Derek didn't say nothing. Quiet as a church mouse. Because at this point, they know Bud wanted to smoke. So neither nobody from that camp responded. Earl, no response. Like I said, there was no response. And then the next thing that comes out was, which everybody forgets, is Floyd came out and said, "Hey, the fight ain't happening." Floyd had to basically come in and basically say the fight wasn't happening. Well, okay, so when Floyd says this and he says, "Oh yeah, I'm basically PBC. I talk to Al every day." This is what he said. So I'm thinking to myself, well, Al, I'm thinking Mayweather's tapping, like, because I wouldn't think that Al Heyman would be partners with him. Like, I'm thinking, shit, ain't nothing. I'm thinking Errol gonna come out and say he ain't my boss, because I know he said that in the past. This ain't my boss. The fight's still happening. What happened? Errol, nothing. Derek, nothing. Nobody said nothing when he came out and said that. So shortly after that, okay, at some point, Bud comes out and says, okay, I'm fighting David Amnesia. Oh, so Tommy says that. Okay, now Derek comes out. Now Errol comes out. Come on, man. Y'all been capping, man. Every time they didn't start talking crap, talking about they sent the contract. We went, okay, so when did you send the contract? When did you send the contract? He says, oh, well, Bud, show the contract. Well, why can't he show the contract? He knows good and well that those disclosures don't allow any of them to show a contract. So the thing is, we don't know. They keep saying, oh, they offered him $5 million. Well, when did you offer him the money? Because Bud said the only thing that y'all sent him was an offer sheet. Never sent them a contract. Where was the fight? What was the fight date?
So
right now, y'all. Oh, yeah.
No. I hear everything you're saying, man. I just want to give you the opportunity to talk because we love Terrence Crawford fans. We want to make sure that they get their opportunity to talk. So first of all, did Bud? So you're saying a offer sheet? That's typically what it's sent over because you're going to actually agree on the terms first before you actually get a finished contract, right? So that's what you're going to get first. So let me ask you this: did Bud Crawford not say that he agreed to all terms associated with the contract? Yes or no?
Yes, he did say that.
Okay.
Yes.
So then why didn't he agree to the actual terms and go ahead and sign that offer sheet so that they can send that over there and then he gets the opportunity to get the full length contract? Because typically you're signing that offer sheet first.
Yeah. May I respond to that? Okay. This is the same thing the knockout. This is the same thing the knockout uses. Yes, he agreed to everything. However, when you say everything, you want to say, well, he didn't agree to the fact that he wanted to know if he was going to get paid. And I agree. He didn't agree to that. So if you want to say he lied because of that, go right ahead. But yeah, I think he's entitled to that lie because who's fighting for free? This is what these guys do. It's prize fighting.
No.
He lied about that. Yeah.
They had already agreed
about that.
They had already agreed to 65-35 split. So of course he knows he's going to get paid. So I'm not quite sure what you're saying.
I'm not. How do you know that, sir? Please explain that to me.
What do you mean? That's that's actually a part of the agreement that you're going to get paid on the back end.
What would be the gross of the fight, sir?
How we know what the gross of the fight going to be? Because the fight hasn't occurred yet. Nobody's going to know what the gross of the fight going to be.
Exactly. So we don't know what the gross is. We don't know how much the expenses are. How do you know he's going to get paid, sir?
What do you mean how you know he's going to get paid? Because he's going to get paid based off of putting asses in seats. Now, they're going to actually control the expenses associated with it, and they had already given him the opportunity to actually see all the expenses associated with it. So if they
agreed with that. So
that's what Errol Spence said. That's what Errol Spence said.
Oh, so
and now I'm about hold on.
So Errol Spence said that, and that's what we're going to go by. But
hold on. No, so Terrence Crawford had the opportunity to release that contract, and now I'm going to go to what you said earlier, which was
Errol Errol couldn't have released it.
But Terrence Crawford is the one that's making the allegations. Why does Errol Spence need to release it?
Because if he knows good and well that Bud cannot release a contract.
But hold on.
If he believes it, why can't he do it?
Hold on. Yeah. So he can speak to the contract. Because let me tell you something. Anytime you start talking about disclosure agreements within a contract, disclosure is both written and verbal. Mm-hmm. So he went on Twitter talking about the specifics associated with the contract. So why the fuck can't you actually release the actual contract? That doesn't make any sense, bro. You can't verbally talk about it.
What specifics did he talk about? All he was talking about in that contract was things that was already in the media.
No. But the disclosure portion of it was, and regardless if it was in the media or not, at the end of the day, he's still talking about it. If you have a disclosure agreement as a part of your contract that you cannot disclose, regardless of what information is out there, you can't disclose it, whether it's verbal or written. So at the end of the day, he went on Twitter talking about it. He went on this live talking about it, but he didn't want to actually show the written portion of the contract. Makes absolutely no sense.
Well, he couldn't do that.
Yes, he couldn't talk about it or show it. if he truly has a disclosure agreement that he can't show the contract, then he also can't speak about the contract either. You don't get to speak about it, but you can't show it. Doesn't make any sense. Disclosure is disclosure.
That's conjecture on your part because you did not see the contract. That's conjecture.
Those are standard. See, this is what Terrence Crawford fans do.
Standard and normal, but without seeing that contract, you don't know exactly what. I don't know. You haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. So that's pure conjecture on your part to say that he couldn't just say that he was getting 60, that he didn't get an offer. He didn't get a guarantee.
So let me say this last thing. So that's what Terrence Crawford fans do a lot. They point to a black box, and what they say is nobody knows what happened over in this black box, even though logic and rules tell you that the standard is this. Oh, we can just make the assumption that, oh, well, we don't know what was actually in the contract, so it could have been anything. Come on, I don't like that. It's the standard rules as far as negotiations or disclosures is that you can't disclose whether it's written or verbal, period. That's what it is, bro.
Let me give you that one. Okay, so let's say he violated by saying that he didn't get a contract. Okay, maybe he did violate. But to send something on the internet and show a contract, come on, that's a totally different ball game. If you're going to actually put that contract on the internet versus somebody talking a little bit about not getting a guarantee. So you don't agree with me that that's a different level when putting a contract on the internet versus
I wouldn't put the entire
some of the information.
I wouldn't put the entire contract out, but I will put it in the section that shows any kind of agreements associated with him having transparency. So if Errol Spence can call out the actual section of the contract that calls for Terrence Crawford to actually get that level of transparency, Terrence Crawford should go out there and release that information. Plus, Terrence Crawford is a boss. He was actually a part of the negotiations. I mean, he's writing the contract. He's actually putting some of these statements in there. So he should have the ability to release it. He's talking like a worker. I thought he was a boss. But
at the end of the day, here's the thing. Here's the final thing. You can't explain to me if Floyd Mayweather, part of PBC, he's saying that he's just as high on the totem pole as Al, said the fight wasn't happening. The fight wasn't happening. Well, how was the fight? Even if he agreed to everything, Floyd came out and said the fight wasn't happening. Not right now. That's what Floyd, he's the boss.
So, no, I hear what you're saying. The only thing I'm going to say to that is we don't know why Floyd Mayweather was actually saying the fight's not going to happen. He could have been saying the fight's not going to happen because Terrence Crawford's not going to agree.
I think you know why.
I do, because Terrence Crawford wasn't going to actually agree to anything.
No. He knows it's going to happen when Bud get in there. He knows it's going. I'm going to ask you this question. You analyze fights.
Yeah.
You honestly, what is his pathway to victory against Bud? What is his pathway to victory? And I'm just asking you what's Errol? So is he gonna? He says that he adapts to people's style. Now, first of all, when it comes to Bud, what style is he adapting to? Because Bud adapts to styles. So what is he gonna do? He's gonna come in on? He's just gonna attack Bud, and you guys think that he's gonna win like that? Bud has been attacked by fighters, Olympic fighters. That's not going to, that's not going to work where he's just going to press Bud the whole fight and win, right? You know that. Now, we know Errol can't back up and fight. He can move forward and throw the jab. That's it. So you don't think that Bud's going to adapt to that? Come on now. Really?
Hey,
what's the pathway to victory? What is it?
So I'm going to I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm going to answer your question, and then
okay.
I'm going to say I appreciate you because I really do appreciate you calling in, man. I like to hear other people's perspective. I definitely like hearing Bud Crawford fans come in, and so I appreciate your time. So, the only thing I'm going to say to that is,
appreciate you.
No, go ahead. What were you saying?
No, I said I appreciate you being, even though I think it's a cap just when you talk about Bud. The rest of your show is fine, it's great, but when I just think you're capping with Bud, but I appreciate your show and I watch it all the time. So
all right, man.
Watch you, but I'm gonna be on you when you talk about Bud. Though, just know
be on me, man. Be on me, man. Appreciate you calling, man. You have a good one, man.
All right, you too, buddy. Take care.
All right, later. So I'm going to answer that question really quickly in terms of Errol Spence and how he's going to possibly win against Bud Crawford. Is very simple. Errol Spence is not as basic of a fighter as people try to make him out to be. Errol can move backwards. He can move forward. And Errol has the ability to take angles and get on the inside and do damage to Bud Crawford. So that's to sum it up. I got somebody calling in. Maybe answer real quick. I got somebody calling in from the 954. This is the Angry Man Podcast. What's going on?
Hey, what's good, baby? How you doing?
What's going on with you, man? You in Fort Lauderdale?
Nah, I'm in Vegas.
Oh, okay, cool. What's happening with you?
Yeah, this is the deal is, man.
Mm-hmm.
Look, Bud burnt bridges like crazy.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? As far as promotional companies, he couldn't go to Top Rank and Bob Arum. He can't go to Eddie Hearn because Eddie Hearn said he ain't touching it. He only could deal with the PBC, and of course, he did the double take and did the Black Prime thing.
Right.
You know, under the nose of PBC without them even knowing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for my opinion, I feel as though he had no intentions on taking that fight with Earl Spence. Blue Blood
facts.
clout chased. He clout chased Terrence Crawford to get his little company off the ground. And that's the only place he can go right now. You know, even now, he got to go back to BLK. He can't go nowhere else, you know. And as far as him fighting Avenesian, that was just crap, you know. And everybody knows it. Nobody wanted to see that fight. He had no intentions of fighting Earl. Then he said Boots' name didn't come up. And that's why he ain't fight Boots. How Boots' name don't come up and he's number 2 when Ortiz didn't want to fight him, he could have just went on ahead and fought Boots and left it at that.
Right.
But he didn't want that smoke either. You know, Bud's a slickster, but Bud don't want no smoke from guys he know gonna give him a fight. All his fights, you already know who's gonna win. Every one of them. He beat all them cats because he knew he was gonna beat them.
Exactly.
So, you know, that's Bud in a nutshell. And I'm not a Spence fan, I'm not a Boots fan, I'm a boxing fan.
Right.
But he ducked out that fight. He definitely ducked out that fight. Because how you gonna negotiate with 2 different promotional companies at the same time and not tell the other people that you negotiate? You know, so you had no intentions on fighting Earl. None. Him and Blue set that up in May, June, and July. It was already done. Blue started capping for Terrence Crawford, talking about 7-11 crap. That fight was already
Absolutely.
set. And he knew it. And he held that revised contract. They gave Terrence everything he wanted in the revised contract for November 19th. And he held that contract and let that date go by because he knew December 10th he was going to fight Avenesian. And that's how that went. And that's how he ducked out that fight. And now he want to turn around and say, spin the block. Come on, dude. He got to stop with that. He did.
Absolutely.
Everybody know Bud don't want to fight Spence. Everybody knows that. It's common sense. You can see it.
Oh, I don't disagree with that at all. You can see it is very clear to me that that's what he wants to do. He wants to evade him, and he wants to do. He wants to keep fighting tomato cans for large guarantees, man. That's just what it is. And so, you speaking 100% facts, man. I don't even think I can elaborate on any better than what you just said, man. Is there anything else you want to share with the callers before I go to the next caller, man?
Yeah, one more thing.
Yeah.
Tell Bud fight Boots. They both gonna be free after January 7th. Bud don't have a fight. Boots don't have a fight. Earl's not back yet, and when Earl do come back, he's going to have to fight Thurman.
Yep.
So go ahead and fight Boots. That's it. Get that mandatory out the way. But he won't
totally
do
agree.
that.
Oh no, right? they'll start blaming Showtime,
that's all
man.
I got, brother.
All right. Appreciate
All
you,
right,
man.
take care of yourself. Be
All right.
safe,
You
baby.
too. All right. Bye.
All right, later.
All right. I need to give a quick pause because I got to give shots out to our sponsors. So Rock Dog Interactive, if you need anything in terms of audio or sound, whatever, your web stuff, you go to Rock Dog Audio Interactive, and they're going to be able to do it for you. And then I also want to recognize Black father figures. Black fathers are invaluable. I'm going to get more information to you guys on that, so you guys can check out Black father figures. It's from my boy, and so the League of Legacies, and he's one of our sponsors, man. So I'm very appreciative of that. So Jay, I want to get you in, Jay. Before I get you in, Jay, we got 102 people in the building. We got 58 likes. Go ahead and hit that like button. And if you don't like the content, hit the dislike button, but make sure that you're interacting with the content. And if you hadn't had the opportunity yet, go subscribe to the Angry Man Podcast, AM Sports Media. We are always dropping content. Now I got to get my boy Jay in the building. Jay, give me a call right now, man. Nobody called me right now except Jay. Jay said he's been trying to get in. I got to get him in. Alan Faison, what are you talking about, man? What are you talking about? This is another LDB. I don't even know who LDBC is, so I don't know what that means. Jay, you still out there? You calling in? If not, started calling out. Oh, yeah, okay. Jay, you still out there? Let me know, man. But it was interesting, the Terrence Crawford fan that we had call in talking about he doesn't feel like there's any opportunity for Errol Spence to win the fight. That fight is 50-50 as far as I'm concerned. Errol can take angles. As a matter of fact, I lean towards Errol, so I don't necessarily think it's a 50-50 fight. I think it's going to be a very competitive fight, and I like the way that the styles matches up. But to me, man, what makes Terrence Crawford dangerous is that he's so rangy for his size, and he's a good counterpuncher. But outside of being that, I think if Errol can figure out ways to use angles and avoid getting countered, it's going to be an easy night for Errol Spence. Who else we got out there, man, looking to call in? We got 64 likes, got 106 people in the building. Hit that like button. Hit the like button, guys. It helps people find the content. Also, go subscribe to the Mic Check podcast. That's my boy T Ward. Go subscribe. There we go. We got somebody calling in. Who we got calling in? You are on the Angry Man podcast. Who do we got in the building?
How you doing? It's Mike. I'm calling out of Dallas, Texas area.
Mike, what's going on with you, man? I already know you're an Errol Spence fan, man. You got to be calling out of Dallas.
Man, you already know. So I just called I just got 2 points coming out of Dallas. Us not talking the way Earl do, that's just a form of expression we do in Dallas. When we're ready to go, it's ready to go. I think Bud fans, they all think like Bud. That's why it be so much confusion with Bud Crawford's fans. They all think alike. They never want to think logic of their hero is really scared he ducking. Ducking is ducking.
Right.
There's no form or fashion or way that Bud don't want to fight. You know, we're going to just put the cheese on the cracker. Bud don't want to do no punching. He don't want to do no fighting. If that's the case, he would have fought Boots. I think in Dallas, we frustrated with Earl ourselves because he's inactive. Anytime we see Earl, he's out, he's enjoying with his kids. But we all, the fans want to know why don't we put more pressure than Earl in Dallas than any of the fans in the world.
Right.
But I think Earl is doing all the heavy lifting in that weight division, and I think he's
absolutely.
I think Bud Crawford fans are so delusional that he's not fighting nobody. He won't even fight Boots. They want Earl to fight Boots to get him out the way so he don't have to fight Bud. But the way it's set up in boxing is, you know, the politics is running it right now. So as a fan of boxing and not just a fan of Errol Spence, we're going to sit back and watch. And when he comes back in April, he's going to dominate Keith Thurman. And I think Bud is going to duck Boots again some way because he wiggles through a lot of fights. He wiggles through And I think Blue Blood Sports exposed Bud better than he tried to market Bud. Because he put Bud on a big platform to show that he really scared. I think he really needs to vacate those belts and move out the way for the new generation so Errol can move up to 154 and it'll be all said and done. But that's all I call for.
All right, man. I appreciate that.
Everything.
I appreciate that, man. All right, man. You too. Appreciate you, bro. One thing I want to comment on, let me get this next caller here. Hey, thank you for calling in. Let me make this real quick comment first. So I like what the last caller just said. He was talking about Bud fans and how they think like him. Notice that Bud started talking about his mandatories and saying that, oh, I always fight my mandatories, basically hinting towards Errol Spence not fighting Boots Ennis. And so now his fans have picked up that same language and lingo and making those same idiotic arguments in the comment section in regards to Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford and Boots Ennis. So I wanted to make that statement very quickly. Who do I have on the line with me currently?
Oh, right now on the line, you got Dank Fountain.
Hey, what's going on with you, man?
Hey, what's going on? Straight out the 609, straight out Jersey. You know what? Repping the east side. Well, I'm calling in today to talk about the boxing and boxing fan and everything. The fights are not being made. They killing the sport. I feel like if Errol fight Bud gonna get punished because he's too reckless. He gonna get clipped. Bull Mac gonna be like, and I feel like Bud, he does everything. Bud's doing too much. The team is kind of holding him back. I think Bud just needs to focus and get the Spence fight and just retire, man. You already got mileage on. You've been undisputed. Get the fight, and that's it.
I appreciate that, man. That's 100% facts. I totally agree with you. Absolutely. Anything else you want to share with the people?
No, that's all. I just want the fight for the fans, everybody. I want to see Rashidi versus Boots. I believe in Rashidi, but the way Golden Boy moved him, I don't think he's gonna fight Boots until later on in his career. So I'm just watching everybody just talking. I just want to see the fight. No more talking.
Facts.
That's it.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you calling in. Love, man.
Yeah,
love.
Great stream.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Be safe.
All right, man. Who else we got? I know somebody else was just calling in. And I missed your call. I think it was somebody calling from. Was it somebody calling from the 908 area code, maybe? You are on the Angry Man podcast with Greg. What's going on with you, bro?
Hey, what's going on with you, man? This Randy from the 229 area. You look like you're a Florida State fan. Look like you in my area over there.
Yeah, man. I'm in Atlanta, man.
Florida.
I'm in Atlanta, man. I'm a Florida State graduate.
Man, I live out here by Tallahassee, Florida, but I went to Redan High School.
Oh, okay, okay.
I'm an old Raiders and a Yellow Jacket at the same time.
Gotcha.
I called in because they talking about this Bud situation.
Yeah.
Bob Aaron told us all we need to know about Bud and Errol Spence. If we think back on what Bob said, I would never put my fighter in the ring with a fighter that I think gonna beat him. That's why that fight was never made. That's the main reason. And I used to tell them all the time on KQ channel, I say, Terrence is staying with Bob because that's who he can blame it on, that the fight is not being made. And every time Bob get up there, they blaming each other. So it's almost like, I jump on you if he wasn't holding me, but keep holding me, man, because you know the growing up thing.
Yeah.
So now we got Crawford on his own, but his delusional fans, they believe everything he say. And he's that guy that they got hope in, but he haven't proved himself. You know what I mean? So I said that to say, Crawford would never fight him because Crawford is got this thing in his mind that he can't take a loss. He feel like if he take a loss, you know, it's just over because he
Big
made
facts.
a comment with against Jamel, and we know Jamel is up there, but he said Jamel is not on their level, and
that's
I've got
false.
to think about that. What you mean by he's not on him and Errol's level? The only difference between him, Errol, and Jamel, him and Jamel been undisputed. Errol haven't. So I could see him saying Errol is not on his level, on their level. But when he say that, the only difference is he's lost and they haven't lost.
Right.
So this it's this loss thing. And if he get in the ring with Errol Spence, even if he wins, he would not do it in dramatic fashion. And it probably will end his career because he would be beat up and banged up so bad till he won't be no more good. Because Errol is going to violate him. He ain't never been violated. He going to violate him. I mean, he gonna make him feel. He gonna make him feel like when he get to the house and get in the tub, he gonna be like, did I consent? Hey, man. but that's going down. It's going down, and he know this. So he don't want to let the children and wives see him get violated. You feel what I'm saying? Because he's the man of the house. He don't want to see him get violated. But yeah, I'm gonna let somebody else get in because I know you got to get. So man, I've been watching you in the background and I like y'all content, man. And I'm gonna email you because I'm thinking about putting together a little channel. So it's a little different, just talking with me, Shot Down, Underground, Mike 202, some of the guys off of KQ Boxing channel. And I just like the way you set up and, you know, the whole nine. Sometimes, even when you dealing with people on a regular basis, sometimes you like other people's style and you kind of like just talk to them and kind of grab some nuggets. But I'm gonna definitely email you, man. First chance I get, I drive a truck, so you know.
Man.
How that lifestyle is. But I'm gonna definitely email you, and it'll be coming from R2FL LLC. So when you see the R2, it'll be me. So
R2FL. What was the rest of it?
LLC. It's R2FL LLC at Gmail.
Okay, perfect. All right, man. I'll be on the lookout for it. I just typed it up,
man, because I've been seeing that. I have been seeing that Florida State up there in the corner. I'm like, he got to be somewhere close, cause that's that Florida State up there, and most people like places, like teams where they either live or something to that effect. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, but then to know you in Atlanta, and like I say, I lived in Atlanta 10 years. And to let you know, I know what I'm talking about. I ain't trying to talk to you on air about where you at and then, but I'm just showing you what I know what I'm talking about. But I live on South Harrison. That's between Covington Highway and
Isn't that on the east side?
Huh?
Isn't that on the east side?
That's over by Kanye. It's okay, you know Glenwood
right?
The
east side. Yeah, the east side. Over there by Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You know you go to Glenwood,
near Stonecrest Mall, all that.
Yeah, because if you go back down Glenwood, all the way straight down Glenwood till it dead end going back east. It dead end on Covington Highway.
Gotcha.
If you make a right on Covington Highway, it goes down to South Harrison Road.
Gotcha.
You make a left on South Harrison Road. We lived in between South Harrison Road and Reed End, because it's gonna cross Reed End, then it's gonna cross Memorial Drive. When it crosses Memorial Drive, it's going to the North Harrison.
Gotcha. All right, man. Well, sounds good, man. It's good to have people from Florida.
I'm gonna definitely give you a shout out, man. Like I said, it'll come in, but I ain't gonna say when, because you know, like my time, like I said, you know, my time is jacked up. But I'm gonna be definitely on the lookout for it.
All right, man. Appreciate you, man. Love.
Man, keep doing what you do, man. Keep being yourself, man. One love.
Will do. All right, later.
All right.
All right, man. Who else we got? I saw some people call in. Was unable to answer. Oh, we got somebody else calling in. Let me go ahead and answer it. We got somebody from the 225. This is the Angry Man Podcast. You are live. What's going on? You there?
What's happening, my brother?
What's going on with you?
What's happening, my brother?
I'm good.
This MJ, man, from a little place called Gonzales, Louisiana.
Okay, what's going on with you, man?
Man, look, I just called to commend you and Jason, y'all, two brothers doing y'all thing. I commend
appreciate
y'all. You and Jason, y'all doing a great thing, man. And it you know, I pay attention to y'all. No bias, you know, showing people where they wrong at, you know, and I love it, you know. And granted, I'm a Errol Spence fan, but at the same time, y'all call it the way it is, you know. And that's, I love the way the facts come out through y'all. Just commend y'all, man. Keep doing what y'all doing, bro. I'm following y'all. I'm subscribed. And I'm going to keep on checking y'all from now on, brother.
All right, man. I really appreciate it. You know, it feels good to be appreciated by the people that are following you and to hear those superlatives. I mean, I'm very appreciative of it. And, you know, Jason and I aren't always right. We got people in the comment section, Tunnel Vision, the League of Legacy. People always are telling us, hey, no, Greg, you got to think about it like this. And so we don't pretend to know everything, but we come in, we give our opinions, and sometimes they're going to be right, and sometimes they're not. They may not be right. But we just want to build a boxing community, man. So I appreciate you being a part of that boxing community. Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Thanks, man.
All right, appreciate you, man. Love. All right, man. We got 90 people in the building, 71 likes. Let's go ahead and get it up to 90 likes. And if you haven't had the opportunity, please subscribe to AM Sports Media, the Angry Man Podcast. And also, please subscribe to the Mic Check Podcast. That's basically a sister channel of this channel. You are always going to see T Ward on this channel. You'll always see me and Jason on T Ward and Q's channel. So what's going on, man? Anybody else in the building? We've been on for about an hour and 31 minutes, man. I'm probably going to do another 15 minutes before I wrap it up. Somebody said the phone line was a great idea. Yeah, I'm going to give Brenda McDonald. She's the one who first came to me, sent me an email and said I needed to have a phone line. Brenda McDonald. Now, other people have suggested as well, but Brenda was the first person to do that. All right, man. I got somebody calling in from the 484. What's going on with you, man? You on the Angry Man Podcast. What's up with you?
Hello?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you, sir?
I'm good.
What's on your mind?
Yeah, I was just calling. Is this the Madman Podcast?
The Angry Man Podcast. Yeah, that's me.
The Angry Man Podcast. My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just calling you talking about the Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford, correct?
Yes, I was.
Yeah. I was just my thing is this, right? This is mind-boggling to me. I've been trying to wrap my mind around this ever since I heard this months of whenever he said it. He agreed to everything in the contract. He accepted it, but he didn't sign the contract.
Right, exactly.
That's really mind-boggling to me. And I'm like, how do you agree to everything, but you don't sign the contract? Basically,
doesn't make any sense.
I don't want this fight.
Exactly right.
But it doesn't make any sense. And it's obvious that he really don't want to fight. And people, I guess everybody have their likes and their dislikes and who they like and who they don't like. But you have to be logical and reasonable and just think, for surely you increased by the power of thought. If a man tells you, listen, you come to me and say, listen, my man, I got a contract for you. Check it out. And if you like it, me and you could talk and we could possibly do business. But you have to sign it first. And then you tell me, okay, all right, I like the contract. I agree to everything. But why won't you sign the contract? So it doesn't make any sense to me.
Hey, bro. Hey, you taking all the words out of my mouth. I don't have to say anything, man. You are the host of the Angry Man Podcast right now, because that's everything I would have said. That's exactly right. At the end of the day, doesn't make any sense. You agree to everything, but yet you don't sign a contract. It does not make any sense. And we've been saying that for a long time. A lot of the things that Terrence Crawford say is just he contradicts himself and it doesn't make any sense. He strings along sentences, but none of them are tied together. So it's an issue, and we call those things out. And if Errol Spence was doing that, we'd be calling that out for Errol Spence too. But the simple fact is Errol Spence does what he say he's going to do, period. So anything else, man, you want to share with the people?
Yeah, before I leave, I just think it's all clout chasing.
Yeah.
Everything is clout chasing. That's all it is. Whenever Terrence Crawford had a chance to call Errol Spence out. Okay, he fought this dude, David Avanesyan, and I know I could beat him. And I'm 62 years old. I know I could beat Avanesyan. But anyway, he fought David Avanesyan, and then he didn't say anything about Errol. And then Errol turns around and said, "Yo, I'm hurt. I'm hurting. I'm gonna take a little time off." He said, "Yo, spin the block, my man. I'm still here waiting on you." Come on, man. Stop playing.
Exactly. All cap.
It don't make sense. It don't make sense. And anybody
Totally
that don't
agree
see
with you.
this and what Crawford is doing in this team, yo, my man, stop playing. Anyway, appreciate your time. Enjoy your show, and you will continue to grow. Just continue to grind. Continue to do what you're doing, and we will support you.
I appreciate
right?
it, man. Love.
Good night, peace, and blessings.
All right. Same to you. All right, man. Oh man, the line has been on fire tonight, man. Shout out to everybody that suggested the line. I've been working diligently on trying to figure out a way to get it in there. I'm still figuring out and kind of and tweaking things and making it work. But I got a guy named Isaac Green who gonna get me right. So yeah, I'm gonna go probably another 10-minute, guys. So if anybody else want to call in, let me know, or we just need to chop it up in the chat, let me know. But either way it goes, I'm ready to go. So let's see what we got in the chat. Man, some of the callers have been on fire tonight, man. My man from I think it was my man that used to live here in Atlanta and is now in Vegas, but used to be in the Panhandle. That Violate, that was too funny, boy. All right, we got somebody else calling. Who we got in the building? We got somebody from the 313. You're on the Angry Man podcast. What's going on with you, man?
What's going on, Greg? This is Brandon House calling out of Detroit.
What's going on, man? Detroit in the house?
Oh, yeah. Been peeping your show, man. Was calling in real quick before you got off.
Yeah.
Was reverting back to that the Terrence Crawford caller that called in when he was asking about the comparison in the fight. Now,
yeah.
A couple of months ago, did you see Kenny Porter on the Boxing Voice? Did you see that interview?
I didn't see it.
Man, you got to see it. And Ness asked him about mid-interview. They was going on about the fight, blah, blah, blah. Then he asked him, he said, well, with all that being said, with your son being in the ring with both of them before, he said, who do you see winning? He just interrupted, said, oh, Errol. He said, damn.
I think I did see that. I think I did see that. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and he told him, he said, it's a lot of different things that play a factor in that fight. He said, well, the main factor, he said, Errol come in huge on fight night. And Crawford ain't going to be able to handle that. You know what I'm saying? That's a natural 147 that shouldn't have been there. It started off at 152, you know what I mean? And he said the focus Errol after he saved him after Ugas with that weight on him, he said, oh yeah, Errol gonna punish him. You know what I'm saying? And Crawford, the way Crawford talking, like when he said his biggest fear, and he said losing in front of his kids and stuff, like that right there, that'll break his whole. He'll go into a whole meltdown. He ended up losing his family in the front row.
Facts. I do believe that too. I absolutely believe that. Yeah. I think what Buddy said from Omaha, and you guys will be surprised. I look at the analytics, and there are a lot of people from Omaha that are subscribed to our channel and watch our videos. And I was shocked by that because I assume maybe they just come in and like they just don't like the content, but apparently a lot of them are not the biggest Bud fans. But yeah, man, anything else you want to share with the people?
Oh yeah, I help run a group on Facebook. It's a boxing group. It's called Uppercuts Boxing Nation.
I'm in that group, bro. I'm in that group. Jason tagged me in that group.
Kennedy.
Yeah, I'm in that group.
I shared one of your videos in there about maybe a week ago. It was one of your regular, not a live, your regular videos. It was something to do with I forget which one it was. But boy, I tell you, the comments went berserk when the likes in the comments with the Crawford fans. I say, ain't this about they're delusional.
Right. Wow.
Uppercut Boxing Nation. Yeah, I'm an admin over there.
Yeah, I'm in that group, man. Jason is in that group. He actually added me to the group. So you'll see me in there. I ain't gonna give my last name because people might start looking me up and stuff, seeing my CPA and all that stuff, and maybe they might get me on canceled or something. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, I'm definitely in that group, man. I you know what? I'm gonna post in the group tonight.
I post in there. I post in there a lot. So like every hour on hour. So you see Brandon House, you'll see one of them posts. You just comment up under it, and I figure out you put a thumbs up or something. I figure out who you is.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that tonight because I'm definitely in that, man. As soon as I get off the live, I'm going to go in there, man, and you'll see me in there. You'll know who I am.
Oh yeah, for sure. Good talking to you, my brother. Good show. Keep it up.
All right, man. Appreciate it, man. Love.
Got one love.
All right, man. I'm gonna go by another 5-6 minutes. I just saw that wifey called me, so she probably looking to have a conversation while she's out of town. So yeah, man. What else we got cooking, man? What else we got cooking? Anybody else trying to call in? Doesn't matter that Kenny Porter said he's not in the ring. Yeah, okay, that's true. But we'll go into deep depression, definitely, because he's still trying to protect that. Oh, all right. Let's see who we got. We got the 214 in the building. You on the Angry Man podcast with Greg. What's going on with you?
What's good? What's good?
Chilling, man. What's up?
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
You say is Boots actually Spence's mandatory, or is he like the contender?
He's not his mandatory yet. He will become his mandatory when he wins the fight this weekend, but he's not his mandatory today.
Oh, okay. Because I was just wondering about that because I was listening to an interview and Crawford was like, I never ducked my mandatories and all of the duck stuff that he kind of.
And his fans grabbed right a hold to that, right? And that's what the other caller was saying, that his fans think like him. But what Bud does, and Bud is good at this, he manipulates the people that follows him. So he puts out false narratives, and then his fans grabs onto the false narratives and try to then perpetrate those in the general public. And what we're doing is debunking all of those false narratives, period.
Yeah, because I tried to look it up online, and I was like, I don't see nowhere. If I see Thurman, and it's just mandatory. That's all I see on there. So I'm just like, well, I don't know where all that stuff coming from. And then another thing is like I was looking at it, and it didn't make sense where he was saying that he signed a contract, but he agreed. I don't know what was going on. You would sign a contract and agree or whatever, but no fight is made. It was a whole bunch of, I didn't understand from the beginning. It was kind of weird. The whole interview that he did with the Black Prime and all that, it was all weird. But I was gonna say too that when him and Charlo, I don't understand. Another thing I don't understand is how is he trying to fight Charlo if he ain't even in the weight division, and a lot of stuff that he's doing just don't make sense to me. So that was one, because I used to, like 2002 years ago, I ain't gonna say I was Team Crawford, but I used to I had faith in him, I should say.
Right.
and he was, I was like, yeah, he good. He was a good fighter. But after the first like straw for me was, when I seen it, he didn't want to fight what was it, Porter. I think he didn't want to fight Porter, and I'm like, well, I don't understand why you wouldn't want to fight Porter. I know you say he your friend, but I mean, go get money with your friend.
Exactly.
That was kind of the first, and it was kind of, I was like, but I didn't. It was kind of weird, but I was like, yeah, when you like somebody, you kind of give them a little slack or whatever.
Right.
So I was like, yeah, man, that ain't nothing. But then after the Porter, then he did the what was it? Oh man, I forgot who was next. But it was a man, who was it? Oh, but anyway, I forgot what the next one was. But it was just, he kept doing little things, and then once he just got into the fight and basically pulled out of this Spence fight, it was just like, I was like, yeah, that's it. Because we had a little bet down here. I'm from Dallas too. we had a little bet down here with him and Spence, you know, and half of us was kind of like, nah, he ain't gonna. Spence ain't gonna beat Crawford. We didn't think he was going. Half of us didn't think he was gonna beat him because a lot of us, you know, a lot of us grew up with him. I'm in the same little. I ain't gonna say same circle, but we went to the same school and everything.
Gotcha.
But, But so we had kind of like we, you know, from knowing, you know, how you grow up with somebody. Well, I ain't gonna say grow up, but you know somebody from being around, you know, and so you kind of like, I don't. Seeing, I mean, after he went to the Olympics and stuff and everything, seeing him grow and grow, and seeing people kind of avoid him, it's just like, man, it's crazy. It was real. I can't really after I seen Crawford pull out of the fight though, that was just like, I was like, yeah, bet South we out. We was like, yeah, bet South Spence gonna kill him.
All right, man. Anything else you want to share with the people?
Nah, that's it.
All right, man. I appreciate you, man. Love. All right, man. I'm going to take one more call before I hop off of here. If you haven't had the opportunity to hit the like button yet, please go into the video, hit the like button, and also subscribe to the Angry Man Podcast, AM Sports Media. We're always dropping content every day. And we take a new and fresh perspective on the sport of boxing as far as I'm concerned. So one more call. Time for one more call. Anybody else going to call in? Appreciate everybody in the chat too. You guys are saying that it was a great show, but honestly, bro, it's a great show because of you guys. Because you guys come into the comment section, you give us energy, you give us things to talk about, you come into our comments, you give us stuff to talk about, you're hitting the like button, you're making comments on the channel and under the video. You're the reason why we have a great channel. It's not Jason, it's not myself, it's you guys. You guys make it. Emmanuel, Samuel Washington, Tunnel Vision, the League of Legacy, Daily Deuces, Brenda, all of you guys are making it. Jay, Chi-Town Finest, Wanda, T Ward, of course, Isaac Green. All you guys are the ones that are making the channel so great. So it's, again, not Jason and I, Eric Calloway, Jason Gant, all you guys, and the people that are Errol, Terrence Crawford fans as well, that come in and show love. All of y'all are really the ones that are making the channel. So it is what it is. I'm not going to take any credit for that. It's you guys. Anybody else? And there was Juice too. Juice came in and hit me with a funny. He's a Terrence Crawford fan to the core, and he comes on. Oh, and Jason Williams too. He comes on and he's always showing love, although he's a Terrence Crawford fan to the core. So we definitely got Bud Crawford fans on the channel as well. So very appreciative of everybody. So I'm at the hour and 47-minute mark, man. Nobody else is calling in. Again, I want to give shout outs to our sponsors. We got Rock Dog Interactive. Again, they've been helping me with the audio. They help me with all my graphics. Everything that you see in terms of my graphic designs, our layouts, everything is coming from Rock Dog Interactive. They do everything in regards to things that are related to tech. Go check out Rock Dog Interactive. I think their website might be down right now, but they do everything. And then Black Father Figures. Black Fathers are invaluable. That's my guy, the League of Legacy. More information is going to come in regards to that. But Black Father Figures, that's something that's near and dear to my heart because I am a Black father of 3 wonderful, beautiful young women. And so that's it, man. This is I've done a couple of oh, and by the way, the Mic Check podcast, T Ward, those are my guys. So make sure that you check them out as well. And I got one more call coming in, so I'm gonna go ahead and take this last call. You are on the Angry Man podcast. What's going on with you, man?
What's going on? This is Frank White, Cleveland.
Frank, what's going on, man?
I'm chilling. Hey, I was first I was about to talk about Bud and Spence, but I was just thinking about something. I told my guys like about 2-3 years ago, like I don't like Crawford no more. You know what I'm saying? Because we was all marking up his skills and all that. They're like, what you mean you don't like? I'm like, bro, look who he's fighting. This this probably like 4 years ago, before the Spence talk even came up. I'm like, man, look who he's fighting, man. I don't like that type of shit. Like, it's like kind of bullying type shit. Like, you fighting people you know you can beat. And this when he first re-signed with Top Rank instead of going to PBC where all the welterweights was. That's the thing that I think everybody don't realize. Everybody know the PBC fighters make like probably 3 times more than what he says. They give him the low guarantee so the Sanctioning bodies can't tax him. That's like great business. That's why he took over like everything. And I don't understand how somebody who in boxing don't understand that. So you don't mind boxing taking 20%, then you pay all the Sanctioning body 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is. Like that don't make no sense. Like that's common sense. That's right to hear. And look,
right, facts.
You probably ain't gonna like what I'm about to say right now. And a lot of people don't like when I say this.
Go ahead.
I'm starting to feel about Tank, man.
You starting to feel that way about Tank? I mean, go ahead and express yourself, man. Go ahead.
Look, man, he's not fighting nobody who got a chance. Hector Garcia is a decent fighter, but he's not the level of Tank. And Devin Haney wants all the smoke. Shakur wants all the smoke. They've been wanted all the smoke. They've been at his head. And he was talking money before. Like, Devin Haney and his father was doing real well. Shakur Stevenson made $3 million his last fight. But you know Devin Haney and his father, they was over there milking the zone. They got some big checks. That's why they was able to take that little, what ain't little money, that $3 million from whistleblower. And Devin is 24 years old. He probably, like, I'm sure Tank made a lot of money on the back end, but Devin made a lot of money to be a young man like that. He made a lot of money. You can tell by the way they living. Like, you know, a lot of people blow, but you know his father, well, if you pay attention to his father, I ain't gonna let him just jack his money up on silly shit. Them boys made a lot of money, and they've been calling for Tank head for years, and he keeps fighting these kind of fighters. And it was the Mayweather thing. Oh, Mayweather, but why are you fighting Hector Garcia? Hector Garcia's a decent fighter, but he ain't them.
Right. No, man, I totally understand where you're coming from. Here's what I'll say in regards to Tank and his level of competition. I think Tank's competition is really predicated on how Mayweather Promotions moved him. And I think that's part of the reason why Tank is going ahead and moving out on his own. So I'm not going to totally blame Tank for that, because what I've heard from Tank over the last few weeks is he wants Ryan Garcia next, and then he wants basically Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson, and then he wants to get out of the game. So if he make those things happen, he's on
those things happen. Oh man, I'm Team Tank. I'm his biggest fan. But he's been saying that shit for the last couple of years. Every time he got a fight, after this fight, I'm gonna fight that person. You could be right on the Mayweather side, but remember when him and Mayweather had a little falling out a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
Mayweather said, "All right, I'm gonna make a Lomachenko fight. I'm gonna make a Lomachenko fight." You know what I'm saying? That was like kind of like a whooping, like, you know what I'm saying? All right, you want to talk shit on internet? I'm making a Lomachenko fight. And you can find Tank's interview saying this. Tank said when they put him in there for Pedraza, he thought they would set him up. Just think about that, man. Jose Pedraza.
Right.
That's a cherry pick. But he thought that told me something, like his confidence might have got up to even knocking people out, but that showed me like a slight little lack of confidence.
No, I hear you, man. I feel you there, and I totally understand where you're coming from. Anything else you want to share with the people?
No, that's all right. I know you about to check out. I'll check you out tomorrow.
All right, man. Appreciate you, man. Love.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, man. That's going to be it for tonight. Again, I want to say appreciative of everybody that was in the comment section today or in the live chat. I want to give T-Ward a shout out. I appreciate you for joining me on the call today. Thank you guys for being patient with me in terms of the audio and the quality of the live stream and everything that we're doing over here. Again, I'm not an audio engineer. I'm a finance person by trade. And so I've been learning as I go. So again, once again, appreciate. I hear you guys saying that the audio is in and out. Sometimes that's on YouTube's end and not on our end. I think that's probably on YouTube's end at this particular time. But again, love to everybody out there. If you haven't had the opportunity yet, please subscribe to the channel. If you haven't had the opportunity yet, please hit the like button, and also go check out the Mic Check podcast with T Ward and Q. They got some great content over there. Again, love, appreciate you guys. Peace.